Hey all, welcome back to the channel. And I mentioned in the last review that I was going to be taking a look at a couple of older characters that have rotors, that have blades, after I looked at Incinerator from the '07 movie. It just kind of got me thinking. But we're going to interrupt that today to take a look at something kind of brand spanking new by way of the Transformers Studio Series Gamer Edition, Barricade. Now, I don't think I'm going to use it as my iteration of Barricade, though I might come up with a different name or whatnot for it. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. How good did this iteration of Barricade turn out? How good of an homage is it to the video game iteration of the character? We're going to find out in the latest GotBot True review. Hey all, welcome back to the channel. I am your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you are at it, light 'em up, baby. That's right, hit that notification bell, please, as it helps me out a ton, and it lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that in the description down below. Also in the description down below, and if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link, you can check us out on Patreon, you can see what we have to offer to you through Spring, or hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. By the by, and not for nothing, as I'm recording this, Starscream wife is kind of pittering around, so you might hear some noise in the background. I apologize for that, but you know what? We got lives to lead, baby. So this is the Gamer Edition Barricade. Now, I remember the games. They are brilliant. We all know this. War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron, Dark Spark, maybe a little less so. But I kind of don't remember Barricade. Now, through some research, through some discussions, yeah, okay, I get it. He was part of that campaign with, the one that saw the Seekers kind of defect to the Decepticons along with Megatron, and it was him and I can't remember who the other one was now, but like he gets infused with Dark Energon and stuff, blah, blah, blah. But I did want to get it because I said, you know what? Maybe it's a good mold. Maybe it could serve as some sort of a Viacon in my collection. Maybe it could serve as like some sort of officers for like my I guess G1ified version of Barricade to like command or something. Like I'll come up with some idea for it, right? I also like that there are a couple of nods here going way back in time to the original Barricade, the Micromaster version of Barricade, if you will. There's actually a surprising amount here to explore. So without any further ado, how about we head over to the table and take a closer look at this guy. Now, I'm not all in on the Studio Series Gamer Edition line, though I think that the War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron, arguably Dark Spark, was like the apex of Transformers video games. No doubt about it, for design, for look, for character, for, you know, fun, right? I get all of that. The reason I'm not totally in on the line isn't because I don't think they're good products. I think they're great products for the most part. I think the Optimus, I've seen a lot on him and he looks stunning. Hopefully I get to review it at some point, but there's still an argument that the original from 2010 is, you know, the deluxe is still fantastic too. Same with the Bumblebee. I'm sure the new one is going to be fine, but the original also fine. Like, whichever one you want, I think they're both good. I think choose your Optimus you want. Choose your Bee that you want. However, that brings us to this guy, Barricade. And I'm not going to lie to you. I had to go back and look and stuff because I did not remember Barricade. I did not remember him being part of that campaign alongside Megatron when the Seekers kind of defected to the Decepticons and stuff. I had to go back a bit. I asked our oldest son, you know, the other collector in the house, how accurate he thought this was, because I know he has played through those games multiple times. So I knew he would be a good source of information for that. Of course, before we look at Barricade himself, we're going to take a look at the packaging first. And here we have packaging. I still find it weird that we have this gamer stuff in the Studio Series line. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I feel like that whole line should have been saved explicitly for the films, because that's what it started at. I thought it was a stretch to put 86 in there, though I've loved some of the offerings that have come out for 86. I haven't loved some of the offerings that have come out for 86. But I felt like the gamer stuff probably deserved its own subline or something, but I get it. There's a billion sublines already. Why not put it in here as a game design studio? I understand the logic. Here we have Barricade on the front, looking very Barricade-y. In fact, it looks a lot like concept art and stuff that was used for him. Over here, close on his face, for sure. And over here, we have, you know, your typical kind of full body shot. I also like that we don't have Autobot or Decepticon symbols up here. We have a keypad with the up highlighted. Same here, right? I find that neat. On the back, of course, we have him in both his robot and alt mode. I can honestly say we have an excellent, clear set of instructions. Nice to see. We have his video game blaster. You will notice that it does not have like a 5mm peg to hold it, because that's not how this works. I'm actually holding it by a very thin horizontal rectangular peg. We'll talk about this a bit later. Nicely molded, nicely sculpted, no paint. I really think there should have been some purple highlighting on this. Okay, so here we have Gamer Edition Barricade next to the War for Cybertron trilogy, Earthrise Barricade, as well as the, I guess I would say the updated War for Cybertron trilogy version of Runner, who, if anybody knows the original Micromasters, knows that G1 Barricade was never a police car, was never full size. This is G1 Barricade, the cruel leader of his Micromaster team. Now, why do I have both of these here? Because it's apropos. There's a few things that we should really talk about here. In terms of the look of the Gamer Edition Barricade, I mean, I'm going to give it about a 7.5. Here's why. I feel like there are a couple of places where we really should have had the purple highlights, especially on his tires. I feel like the gray might be a little too light and a little too overused against the black. That's debatable. And honestly, the robot is supposed to be more svelte, more slender. This is a bit bulkier, and the tires up on his thighs is, well, that's debatable about correctness. We'll talk about that in a moment. So I'm saying the look is a 7.5. Maybe someone would score it higher at 8, 8.5. Maybe someone would say it looks like it jumped off the screen. Looking back at like screenshots of it, him and whatnot, I feel like 7.5 is about where he is. That score, by the way, is also in conjunction with my son, who really sort of scored him the same. I think what really would have helped is if the purple detail on the tires up here, not even the line out around the edge, but like that on the tread purple detail. I think that would have been enough to kind of put it over the top as much more accurate. Okay, so a few things to note here. You know, as I say that, and as a caveat to all that, this guy was described in the Exodus, because, I mean, in essence, this is a line continuity Barricade, right? He looks like the game, for the most part, 7.5, but, like, if we're saying that the game is part of the aligned continuity, like, in Exodus, he's described as black and white with red optics, so this is a deviation of that. However, what's more interesting to note is he is the only male character from the War for Cybertron game that did not come back in Fall of Cybertron, even though there's a loading screen, I believe, in Fall of Cybertron that explains that this guy is like, I don't know, one of the like best Decepticon drivers or something, after smashing through like a bunch of Autobot blockades. Also worth noting is the design takes cues from the movie version of Barricade. Specifically, I think the earlier version, like I don't think that means The Last Night or Age of Extinction iteration. Like I think it's just the original trilogy that is meant to have certain homages here, like maybe around the face and the eyes. As well as G1 Barricade. Specifically, the tires being up on his hips are like the tires here on the hips and knees of this guy. That's why it's done. It's a nod to that design element. Whether it's accurate or not, well, again, that's why it was done that way. Or, you know, they said, well, we've got to do something with his tires because the way he transforms in the game, there's a lot going on. And that's what they opted to do with the tires. I think it's a nice little nod. The only other version of this iteration of Barricade we had came in like a reuse of the Transformers Prime Prowl mold, and that one came with Frenzy, which is weird because Frenzy, of course, as we know, is one of Soundwave's minions, and apparently the earlier partners of Barricade were also named after Soundwave's cassettes. Weird. I know. A lot of weirdness. So, as it stands, for the look of the guy, taking him out of it for a moment, we're going to say 7.5. My ultimate goal or thought was maybe to get 2 versions of the Gamer Edition and have them sort of flank this guy as my Barricade. Right? I do admit I call this guy Runner. Sort of like a trio of Decepticon police. I don't know, maybe they could work with Tarn or something, right? So that's been my thought process. I really like this guy, for the record. Okay, 7.5, maybe not the best start. Maybe I'm even being a little bit harsh, but I would have loved to have seen more purple on the pelvis. I would have loved to have seen it on the actual tire detail, on the tread, and a little bit out there. The guy, however, does clock in at 106 beautiful, hefty, strong grams. He's a very big deluxe. Very big deluxe. Certainly not Voyager, but a very, very big deluxe. Love to see it. This arm, as we all know, can come off, and his blaster that I talked about earlier can come off of a little peg back here and go on over the arm. Fairly deep bend there. I mean, almost 90 degrees when you have his blaster in his arm. Taking that off and laying it to the side. Putting his actual arm back on here. Make sure that I'm doing this right, because this only fits on like one way. That's it for the elbow. Let's talk about the articulation. Let's do that next, because his articulation is an issue. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the sculpting. I even love that we have the thruster and stuff back here. Like, we have this detail, because in the game we have this over-the-shoulder look, and I think that that's great. Okay, let's do the articulation. So the arms, if you push them, can only go out that far. Reminds me a lot of like the limitation on Universe Sideswipe. Dude's not doing a T-pose. His elbow, that's it. That's as deep as you're getting. And does he have a bicep swivel? He does. It's very tight, and it's, I don't know. I don't know if using this arm is the best one. Let me use this one over here, because this is one that doesn't come off. Can we get, like, you almost need the arm left down to use the bicep swivel. It's there, but it's not super usable. It's more of a transformation hinge than it is anything else. We do, however, have a free-flowing waist. That's nice. The head, it can go left and right, but man, is it super duper duper tight. Nah, it does it, but not fun. Leg can go all the way forward if you angle this a bit to the side of the pelvis to get it up. Leg can go all the way back. When it comes to out to the side, that's it. That's as far as you're getting, out to the side. And no ankle tilt. Though the foot can go up, no ankle tilt is a big bummer. And the knee goes to there. That's it. Your joints are there, but your kibble and stuff is so much that it severely hinders articulation. The dude really cannot score dynamic poses. I gotta give him 6, maybe. I want to give him lower, honestly. I want to give him about a 5, but I'm going to be nice and say a 6. So we have a 6 and we have a 7.5. Doesn't sound that great, does it? But let's keep going, because a 6 and a 7.5 gives us about a 6.75 right now. Not great, but we'll see how it goes with the transformation. Full disclosure, I got interrupted for transformation attempt number 1. This is transformation attempt number 2. Let's get into it. We're going to open up the hands, and we're going to turn them around so that they're backwards. Then they should fit in, but to be fair, it's tight. Okay, that one went. Good. Over here, we take it again, we turn it so the palm is facing out, and we rotate it in and we close it back up. That's those 2 arms done. Next, we're going to fold up the feet. We're going to take these hip sections, and by the way, if you wanted, you could leave them like that the whole time, or you could leave them around like this the whole time. That's your call. They're on an armature here that really just semicircles down and then rotates up. They do tab in. We're not going to worry about doing that just yet. We're going to take the entire waist and turn it around. We're going to take these 2 sections that are on the back of the legs and we're going to bring them up. And now we're going to put all of this, peg all of this together. So we come here and we put the lower legs together. We snap these pieces together going up the body as well, or we should be able to snap those pieces going up the body as well. There we go. Take all of that. We make sure that we got these pieces snapped in here as well. And then the tire sections here, there's a little, let's see if I can show this. I don't know if I can now. Yeah, I can. There's a little rectangular tab right there that goes into a little slot notch on the front tire. All of that kind of goes together like that. It might come apart during the rest of the transformation. If it does, we'll fix it after. Not a big deal. We're going to pick off this whole backpack section and bring this up. When we do, there's a little rectangular tab right there that goes into a hole up right there, and it does solidify in. Then we take the arms here and we rotate them around. I don't know why that just did that. Let's do it on this side. Weird, I don't know why that did that. And then we bring this down on the side and we're gonna end up putting it all and squeezing it all in. I gotta fix this arm, so bear with me a second. Yeesh, I don't know what happened with this hinge. Anyway, when you bring this down, there's a rectangular tab right there that goes into a slot on the leg, and a little black tab here that feeds in up right here. It kind of locks in two places. Make sure you got the shoulder though pushed all the way down first. Otherwise things will not line up as they really should. And once it lines up, it should be fairly easy to kind of get everything in there and locked, right? Then we take this whole backpack piece and we bring it up and we bring it over. And really you're gonna have it lock in a bunch of places. There's like 4 different places here that it locks in, but in essence what you're doing is bringing it up and really kind of solidifying it in. I gotta squeeze this a little bit more, but once you take the blaster and put it up here, in essence though I need to squeeze this piece in a little bit more. In essence, boom, here we have Barricade in his vehicle mode. And there you go, with everything kind of squeezed and solidified exactly as it should be, we have our Batmobile Barricade boy. Some people have said this would be a great mold to use for that crossover. I can't say I agree. The robot is so limited in its articulation that, to be quite frank, it would make a really bad Batman. Not gonna lie. You see him here next to his Micromaster counterpart. Because again, the transformation and the engineering very, very similar, except kind of reversed. So the arms are on the side, the arms are on the side. There's a whole piece that comes up over the head. In this case, it's the rear of the vehicle. A whole piece that comes up over the head, it's the front of the vehicle. The 2 legs go together and really kind of fold up to become the front of the vehicle. Here, the 2 legs go together and fold up to become the rear of the vehicle. So the engineering is very similar. It's a nice nod. Granted, there's a waist rotation here and some more that we do with the arms, but there are elements that are similar to the nod to this guy, which I think is nice. It certainly expands it beyond just the video game fans to some of the other fans, some of the like Micromaster fans and G1 fans. He rolls like absolute champion. I detest this gray and this gray. I think we should have had more purple around the tires and certainly down on the treads. I do like the purple up here on the windows. I think that little highlight is something that really helps to make the vehicle mode pop. Transformation Man being a 10. I mean, it's just fun. The guy has such heft that when you're squeezing stuff, nothing feels like it's gonna break. It's solid and enjoyable. I think that overall the guy can probably get a 7.75 to an 8. His weakness is his articulation for sure. The look is pretty good. It could have used some more purple. Minor complaint. The transformation is spectacular. The articulation, while it's all there, is pretty darn limited. And while the guy overall was getting about a 6.75 and the 10 really helps bring him up, you gotta know what you're getting into with this guy. He'll look fine in a fairly stoic pose. You're not gonna get anything dynamic in robot mode, but boy, oh boy, the vehicle mode is wonderful and the transformation between both is enjoyable and fluid. That's the thing. This guy, despite his imperfections, is still fun and fluid. Normally, The low articulation would be like a deal breaker for me, baby. But not now. I still find myself enjoying this guy because what he does do well, he does very, very well. By the way, if I didn't mention it, yeah, the dude rolls like an absolute champ. Is he a win? Is he a loss? Should you hunt him down? That's up to you. But I do think that despite his limitations, there is still something really enjoyable about Gamer Edition Barricade. And here we are once again, and here he is. So there's good, bad, and ugly here, right? The good. Actually, let's start from the negative and go to the positive. So the ugly. There's severe articulation limits here for what we've become accustomed to in terms of modern day deluxes, right? There's no ankle tilt, and the knee is very limited. Even getting his hips up, you almost got to kind of put him out to the side a bit. The shoulders, like that's it. No full T-pose here. The bicep swivel is neat, but it's also cumbersome, and that's it for the elbow. And while we do have a wrist, because of the molding in here, it's a rough wrist. So that's kind of the ugly, the articulation limits. The good, great transformation. Honestly, very fun, very intuitive, very effective, very kind of straightforward. Does remind me sort of the Viacons. Quite solid and stable on his feet, which I like. I also dig the gimmick where you take out his arm and put his blaster in, and you can put his arm back here when you're not using it. I think that that's really neat. I love the look of the vehicle mode. Very Batmobile-esque, if you will. I feel like I wouldn't want this as my main iteration of Barricade, but I do feel like I am okay with it being like officers or something that flank Barricade or that he can command. Like I feel like it's good as like a support character Barricade. Stockade, I don't know, Lemonade, some sort of other aid than Barricade. And the good. I think it does a really respectable job of homaging the video game iteration of the character. Not perfect, but it's not bad. Granted, these up on his hips, they should probably be down and more in his legs, but I do like the homage to the original with these sort of up on his hips a bit more. The vehicle mode looks a little race car-esque, if you will. In fact, the whole back of the vehicle is still on his back. His lower legs and feet still become the front of the vehicle, just like the original. So I dig those nods. I really, really like that. I think that's clever. I love the head sculpt, even if the articulation is somewhat limited on it. Here's the weird thing. While the articulation is far too limited for the modern age, modern era, I think the look and the transformation is so fantastic that I still find myself really enjoying the guy. He's fun, and he's interesting, and he's fluid in going from both modes. But if you're going to get him, you got to put that weight on all of those other things. Because if you're getting him hoping for dynamic posing, it's not going to happen. It's as simple as that. 2 out of 3 of my metrics that I use are great. Honestly. And to me, that still makes this guy, overall, a pretty decent win. Let me know what you think about Gamer Edition Barricade. Is he your Barricade of choice or not? I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we have to offer to you through Spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. While you are at it, please hit the subscribe button, stick around, have some fun with us here on the channel, man. We do a lot of stuff. And don't forget that somehow, some way, each and every single solitary day, you right there, you do make a difference in the world. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres, or the old-fashioned way right here inside the videos.